Hello Silver friends, this is Joli from QuickSilverHair, and today we are going to go over the low porosity hair care tips. This is part 2 in my porosity series. I have broken this video up into 4 videos in case you missed it. I've done a previous video last week on all the things you need to know about porosity, so if you missed that, you might want to go back and check that one out. This is probably one of the most confusing topics out there when it comes to hair type. So I wanted to do really clear, concise hair care tips for each porosity level on their own. So the following 2 videos will be on medium porosity hair and high porosity hair. I am talking silver hair here, but porosity is porosity, so this video should be valuable to you whether you dye your hair or not. Before we get started, I want to make a note here that porosity is not the be-all, end-all topic when it comes to hair type. It is just a tool in your toolkit for caring for your hair. So it's not something you have to know, and it's not something you have to have 100% correct. And as I mentioned in my previous video, you can have multiple porosities on your head. If you want to pause right now and go print the tips sheet for low porosity, it is linked in the description box below, and you can grab a notebook and a pen and a cup of coffee if you want, and then we will get started. The characteristics of low porosity hair are that it is grade 1 or 2. It is a hair condition that is usually virgin with little to no chemical or heat damage. The sheen is naturally shiny. And frizz, generally you have very little frizz, but if you do, it's probably halo frizz around the crown of your head where you get a little bit of new growth frizz. The pH of low porosity hair is slightly acidic between 4.5 and 5.5. A little alkalinity is used, that's something like baking soda, to help open up the cuticle to cleanse it. Your hair strength is usually strong unless it's very fine. For haircuts, you can go up to 6 months without a haircut. You just want to make sure that your ends look healthy, smooth, and are free of split ends. Water retention and absorption in low porosity hair. It can be difficult for you to get your hair wet. It might take a minute or more to saturate all of your hair depending on your hair density and your hair type. Dry time is high. It can take up to 2 hours or more for low porosity hair to air dry. For instance, it can take 4 hours or more for my hair to air dry. Proteins for low porosity hair. Having low porosity hair, I can tell you that the larger the protein is, the straighter and heavier my hair gets. So I found that amino acids are incredibly beneficial for low porosity hair unless you just have a super sensitivity to proteins and can't handle them at all. You might try amino acid based protein formulas for your hair, and you might get the benefit of the strengthening of protein. Cleansing tips for low porosity hair. So your shampoo probably needs to be a regular shampoo, gentle but cleansing and sulfate free. Most people with low porosity hair cannot handle using a co-wash. It builds up rather quickly on their hair and on their scalp. Clarifying, because your hair is so prone to build up, you want to clarify at least once a week. That is my routine. I use a gentle clarifying shampoo and then I follow it with deep conditioner. With low porosity hair, you'll also want to consider using water-soluble products and very little to no silicones. Conditioning tips for low porosity hair. You want to use a really good quality conditioner that you can feel melting into your hair. If it feels like it's sitting on top of your hair, or it's not soaking in, or it just feels dry even though you've put conditioner in, you likely have the wrong conditioner for your low porosity hair. You want to use a deep conditioning mask with heat. You might want to put a cap on and put a little bit of heat on that cap with your blow dryer and sit for 10 to 20 minutes, and that should be sufficient for a deep conditioning mask. Or you can do like I do and use a light in-shower deep conditioner that you use once a week following your clarifying routine. Leave-in for low porosity hair should be probably a lightweight cream that is free of shea, cocoa, or coconut oils so that it is not too heavy and weigh your hair down. And those oils can also coat the hair and block your hair from letting go and letting in moisture properly. So you probably want to avoid those that have heavy butters and oils in them. You can also use a liquidy leave-in that is more like a milk or a spray. You may find those to be far more beneficial for your low porosity hair. One thing to note is with silver hair, don't be surprised if you need more leave-in than you think you should need. Try to find that leave-in, whichever one you choose, with UV and heat protection to protect your hair from having the porosity go up. So if you go without UV and heat protection, you are gradually raising the porosity of your hair by not protecting it. Tangles and detangling low porosity hair. Low porosity hair is prone to fairy knots. If you don't know what that is, it is where single strands get knotted together and you may have to cut that knot out because it will tighten down on itself and you can't get it out. This should be mitigated with proper conditioning and pH balanced products. Detangling on wet hair with a wide tooth comb or your fingers and a conditioner is the best way to detangle your hair. If you want to detangle your hair dry, do it with a gentle padded brush before you wash your hair. Oils for low porosity hair. Again, you don't want to be using heavy oils on low porosity hair. They are too molecularly large to penetrate that closed cuticle. And the butterier and more solid they are at room temperature, the more likely they will be to weigh your hair down. So you want to look for lightweight, thin oils like squalane, jojoba oil, marula oil, or even almond oil can help. If you have white hair, some of these oils have a very concentrated color to them and can stain your hair, so you want to avoid those, and you might want to stick to something like squalane or marula oil. If you like a pre-poo oil mask, instead of coconut oil, use babasu oil. Hold products and longevity of style in low porosity hair. You want to use medium to hard hold gels, custards, mousses, or sprays. You may even find if your hair is really fine and easily weighed down that you want to use a spray gel. You may not need humidity protecting ingredients for your gel at all times on low porosity hair, but you may want to avoid using glycerin or glycerin heavy products. If you are concerned with glycerin and you think it is a culprit, you can look for it to be below the 6th or 7th ingredient in your product. So if it's like 7, 8, 9, 10, 25 in the place on your ingredients list, it's probably not going to cause any issues with your hair, but you can try that and see if that helps with fighting frizz. Low porosity hair, especially curly low porosity hair, tends to lose its shape rather quickly. Refresh can be very difficult. I know this because my hair just does not refresh. So you want to look at possibly doing updos or styles that you can use to elongate your wash day results. Or you can re-wet your hair completely, condition it, and then reapply all of your styling products so that your refresh doesn't necessarily include shampooing your hair. Low porosity product amounts and application methods. So with low porosity hair, you want to make sure that you're not using really heavy products that will weigh your hair down. You want to make sure if you are using something that's heavy, either mix it with water or use it very light-handedly. Don't grab a whole lot of it and expect great results because it will weigh your hair down. Curl product application methods for low porosity hair, you probably are going to net the best results on soaking wet hair. So you want to apply your leave-in and your gel on soaking wet hair. If your hair tends to get really weighed down by this, squeeze some of the water out through each phase so that you don't have too much water in your hair for your low porosity hair, and then it will help it to not stay wet for way too long. You can also try damp styling. This might work better if you have a looser wave or are on the straighter side of the hair type. For drying your low porosity hair, I highly suggest you plop your hair for at least 15 minutes before heading into the diffuser. I do not recommend air drying low porosity hair because if it takes longer than 2 hours for your hair to dry, you could be potentially damaging the cell membrane complex of your hair, and this will eventually cause breakage and weakness in your hair. So I do recommend that you diffuse or blow dry your hair on low to medium heat on low speed. Dry it to 85 to 90% dry and then let it air dry from there. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope that you found some of this beneficial for helping you to have the best with your silver hair. Stay tuned for my next videos on medium and high porosity hair tips. If you want to join me on my email list, there is a link in the description box below to that list so that you will know when the next videos drop. While you're down there, if you found this video helpful, please like it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below because I do plan on doing a question and answer video for porosity if needed. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already because I would love to see you next time. Until then, shine on.